some good topics today. And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Miss Illy? How you feeling?
I am spectacular. No complaints. How you doing today?
I'm great, man. I cannot complain at all. I've been through some things over the last couple of days, but anytime, you could do what you love, you're in your passion, you're in your calling, and, you have the energy to do it, is a day that's blessed, man. So I can't complain. And even if I did, who'd be listening?
I will listen.
But I'm always the type, like, to be honest with you, and sometimes to my detriment. No matter what I go through, people will be like, "Yo, Mike, how you doing?" "Yo, I'm great." And I only do it not because I'm deflecting my feelings, but more so because I'm not a believer of misery likes company. I'm more so like, "Yo, if I can help you get a great day, here, look, it's great. Come on, let's. Maybe I'm the one smile that you need to get your day going. You know what I'm saying? Where I could be in
and even with yourself, I think when you focus on what's wrong, what you focus on expands and grows. So yeah, you was down, but you're good now. And we're glad you're back. And the beautiful thing is you get to do what you love from the comfort of your home, which is even better. So even if you were not 100%, you know what I mean? Push through. We got it.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit off air and some pre-production, and you mentioned something to me that is trending. Mm-hmm. I was wide open to let you know that I'm not exactly sure. I saw a couple of things here and there, but I found the actual topic fascinating because to me what it represents. But I want you to kind of give us the lead in. It's we're definitely talking today about the bonnet. The bonnet, right? Yeah, the bonnet.
Who knew like a little article, a teeny tiny article of clothing could get so much conversation stirring? We were talking about the Monique video, which you did say that you saw, but that was kind of the extent of what you have witnessed on social media. But Monique done opened Pandora's box and, the floodgates and everything else. And so there's just a lot of I guess conversation, argument, debate about whether or not a bonnet is respectable to wear in public. The irony, which a lot of people have pointed out, is that Monique did this video on the internet, which is forever versus me walking to Walmart, for an hour in my bonnet. She did this video on the internet in a bathrobe with no bra. So it was just like, I don't think it was received as well as it could have been by the bonnet wearers, but the bonnet wearers are holding fast in their position, and they're like, fuck your respectability, fuck your presentability. I'm comfortable. This is my bonnet. I need to protect my $300 hairdo. Kick rocks, and so I guess the conversation becomes, I guess we can each share our opinion and then like maybe dig a little deeper into it. I think, like you said, I think the conversation it's centered around the bonnets, but I don't think that's really the main thing. It's really just about.
Right. I think, okay, so from what I saw about with Monique's interview, this is what, number one, I want to say this. I know a lot of people aren't, I don't want to say a fan, but a lot of people have fed into the narrative that's been spit about Monique. A lot of people have fallen into that, okay? And the media try to portray her as, difficult, this, that, her husband, the manager, blah, blah, blah. All these things, okay? And I'm somebody that just watching from the outside, one day as a grown man, as an adult, right? And as somebody that understands what she was saying, I said to myself, this woman is right, and people owe her an apology.
Okay.
She's been right. She's been right all along, and people owe her an apology. And just now, she's getting her just due, where people are kind of interviewing her. They're messing with her again. They're talking to her because people are realizing, holy shit, this whole time she was right. So when I see her talk on these type of topics, I'm listening, and I'm paying attention because I'm watching it not so much because she's some kind of intellectual, but more so because there's a wisdom in her age. And there's things that she's been through and that she has seen. And I feel like she's just an OG spitting game to the young girls. And there's never anything wrong with that. I mean, Is she a little harsh, maybe a little outdated? Okay, I'll give you all of that. But at the same token, we didn't experience some of the things that she experienced. And I think that the bonnet, yeah, it's a good way that you put it. It's just a small sample of a much bigger issue. It's a representation of a much bigger issue. So to me, the bonnet, when they put that out there, and I think a lot of it started when that guy Jackson, his wife, went online and was, talking about whatever.
Sitting there
and
looking
they
all
saw her
horrible, talking about her man
and
cheating on her in
everybody
the
just
damn bonnet. Yeah.
everybody straight attacked her. Everybody straight attacked her. Okay. And there's a couple of different arguments to look at. We could address the Monique thing. We could address the actual, what the bonnet represented to me with her, and what people's rights are as far as what they're allowed to look like on their time. Okay.
Well, I think we can agree that, because that's the argument. Like, a lot of the argument that a lot of people are making is like, let people do what they want to do. People are going to do what they want to do. Let them do what they want to do. Let them do what they want to do. And that's kind of the way I stand. Like, me and my daughter were having the conversation. She's 20 years old. She's a bonnet rocker. She rocks that bonnet day and night, hair slayed underneath, but you would never know. And so my argument was simply like, you can do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Wear what you want to wear. It's not even, for me, I see chicks, some be looking a hot damn mess. Some are together, but they just have the bonnet on. I have my personal opinion about that particular person. In general, do what you want to do. But then my thing is that you always have to be prepared for how you are going to be received. And I think that was the thing that Monique was saying. I saw a few people kind of bring up the whole black-white thing and like, oh, this is just a matter of, you're trying to tell black people or black women that we have to look a certain way to be accepted by the white man and da-da-da-da-da. Which, to a degree, I get that, because that's a very deep conversation. But the reality of it is, everybody's judging you. Black men, white men, Spanish men, girls, boys, kids. You know what I'm saying? If you're a mess, you're a mess. And people are going to recognize that. And so that was just my thing, is that you have to be prepared for whatever judgment or behavior that you get. Now, is that right? No. We shouldn't judge people, how they look. Can't judge a book by its cover. But it is what it is. Like, and I think, and I was explaining to my daughter too, like, there's levels. It's one thing to have on a bonnet, again, and the rest of your outfit is together. You're just trying to keep your hair together. I get that, even on the airplane, all of that. But like the bonnet, the big t-shirt with the no bra, the baggy sweatpants, you got your slippers on. A lot of times, and I hate to say it, black women are not the most fit. So now you like 30, 40, 50, maybe more pounds overweight. You look a fucking mess. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Whether bonnet, you take the bonnet off, you still look a fucking mess. And so it's just like, what level do we have to be at to be accepted and presentable? Or is it just like, fuck you, pay me, I'm doing what I want to do. If you don't like it, that's your business.
Okay, so you know what I've noticed, and maybe I'm wrong. I've noticed that it's become a look. Mm-hmm. So where it was the exception to the rule, where you literally wanted to dress up, look nice, go out. Now it's almost like, I feel like it's actually a look where people will spend most of their day in that look. The bonnet, some
fuzzy
kind
slippers.
Some kind of pajama, and then the fluffy slippers, the little matching, and it's usually matching the bonnet, like that kind of look. And you're like, okay, now if you're running out of the house, got to go to the supermarket, I get it. I'm not all for it, but get it. But if this is your outfit, if I'm picking you up and we're gonna go hang out, and this is what you're wearing, whoa, time out. Like, what are we doing?
I don't think that happens as much. I was
at Orlando Point.
Okay.
I was at Orlando Point, right? Icon Park, sitting at a hookah bar. And I had a conversation for about 20 minutes with the table next to me and my girl, because all we saw was waves of young girls. Waves. There was a couple of things. Waves of young girls. There was the fluffy pink slippers type things, whatever, with socks or whatever they were wearing. Some kind of like what looked like what could have been nightwear, night type of sleepy wear, a bonnet or a wrap, right, and long eyelashes, and it was waves. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna go out tonight. whatever. And these girls stop into the bar we're at, sit at the bar, and they're like drinking. And I'm like, yo, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? But hey, I would like to say I'm not one to judge, but in that moment, I absolutely judge.
I mean, we all judge. I think we try to like convince ourselves that we don't judge people, but it's natural. You're gonna have a response. You see something, you react to it. You judge everything. We judge everything in our lives, not even people. Everything. And so it's natural. Your logical self can be like, okay, she's wearing a bonnet. Let me not hold this judgment against her and now treat her a certain way. But the reality is that it does create a judgment, and so then. Obviously, we can talk about this podcast is primarily focuses on relationships, so we'll talk about that. But there's many other factors you can talk about, in the workplace and how you perceive, just in a store or whatever. But like as a man, when you see that, is it a turn off, or is it just like whatever, she got her bonnet on, wonder what's up underneath that?
It's one of those things, right? Where like I think for the most part. Obviously, the eye is the first thing that attracts you. The eye is the first thing, the visual. You see it, men are very visual. We see it, we like it, we go for it, right? But I think that there is a space in between where if we see somebody, we almost give them the credit. Like, okay, I see her. If she takes all that off and fixes herself up, she's going to be fine. So we'll kind of like look through, let's see what the body looks like. Okay, cool. We can kind of work with it. But if that's a woman's every day and that's her kind of like the way she's moving, I don't know. I hate to use this word, but I don't know the quality of man she's going to attract. You know what I mean? Like there's it. And I hate to go down that road because you would hope that people aren't that shallow.
Right.
You would hope. But theory and practice are two different things. The truth is, I see some chick. So in the past, if I've gone to the supermarket, right, and I see a chick in some sweats, a jean jacket, and a baseball cap, I kind of look through because that's actually a much better gauge,
right,
of what she's going to look like. You know what I mean? So you're like, oh,
she looked good in the bonnet. She looked good out of it. Right.
Okay, cool. Let me talk to her. Right. That's one thing. But let's say I'm out. Let's say at Icon Park. Nice little area, cool spot, chill bars, everything out there, right? And I see a group of young ladies, and one of them is dressed like that. I don't care how fine she looks. I don't care how fine she looks after that, because that first impression, when we're out in this atmosphere, I'm good.
You don't care about your appearance.
Yeah, no, I'm not giving you that credit that I would have given the same person in the supermarket. So I think it's definitely situational. Like it's where you're at. Like what space are we in?
There's a time and place, and I think that's with anything, right? And yeah, so the same thing with the bonnet, because people kept talking about the airport thing. Like, yeah, you get on a plane, whatever, wear your pajamas, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's like when it's your, like you said, it's the all day outfit. My personal thing, again, whatever. But I always say with my daughter is like, you ladies, you get the wigs done, the weaves done. Y'all spending hundreds of dollars to get your hair done and keep it hidden. For what? Unless it's for like a special occasion. Girl, like let that shit fly. You know what I'm saying? I don't get.
You spend all that money, right? And you're spending 75% of your day with a bonnet.
In a bonnet, right.
So you're paying all that money for 25% of your day that you're going to be seen? That's crazy to me.
Like, let it fly. You get hair's done, And my argument, my daughter too, like, you're not a woman, so you don't understand. But like, bonnets don't secure really anything. They just kind of like, mess it help it from getting all disheveled. It's not like a scarf that kind of holds it together.
Whatever to the wrap.
You can throw off that bonnet, hair done, you're good. Like, it's not hard, But she's like, well, you gotta curl it, and now I gotta straighten it, and I gotta do this, and that takes time. So I don't know. I don't wear bonnets. Or weave. So I don't feel like I have a true, whatever, like leg in this argument. But I can share my opinion. And my thing
absolutely.
To get your hair did, girl. Let them see that hair.
I got a question, right? So my thing, I'll be honest with you, my thing since I was a kid is never trust a woman that wears pajama pants outside. Never. Let me tell you something. You wear pajama pants outside. I don't care what you're working, what kind of junkie I don't care what you got going on. It's not happening with me. Hell no. I don't
Even
trust
if it's like 1 a.m., I had to run the store real quick. I can't get it past then.
come on, you know, that's different. It's different than that, but you're a great adventure. You're a great adventure. You know what I'm saying? You went to a restaurant, you decided, well, we went out to eat, and you showed up. But I'm looking at you like, you don't give a shit about life. You definitely don't care about me. Hell no. I ain't fucking with you. All right? Hell no. I ain't messing with that shit. No way. That shit is like beyond fucked up to me. But
so you said something about the quality of the man, and he was giving me a little Kevin Samuels vibes, right? So then it's like, then it becomes like, do women have to be a certain way in order to attract a quality man?
see, you just hit it right on the head. You said attract.
Mm-hmm.
Attract. Let's keep it right there. Attract. That's the first half an hour is attract. You attracted me. You got me to talk to you. That's it. After that, here's the deal. There's a zone between my attraction and my commitment. Okay? And here's what happens. For my attraction, you need to be visually pleasing. Do I care if you're a nice person yet? No. Do I care if you're the sweetest? I don't give a shit yet. Do I care if you're funny? I don't care yet. I have to look at you and be attracted to you first. Then there's a gap. We'll get back to that. Then there's the part where I'm invested in you and I trust you and I like you and I kind of see something moving forward. That's when I give a damn if you have a degree. That's when I care if you have a great job. That's when I care if you can read. That's when I start to care about that, because now I'm trying to invest in you, you know? So there's a gap. And in that gap, right, is what we're talking about. And I feel like you could attract, you have to be, the Kevin Samuels model works when you're talking about attracting. Okay, cool. I attracted you. Is that going to keep you? No. Will that keep a man? No. No. I've met too many beautiful women.
That was
I
gonna be my
know
next
too many beautiful women
Mhm.
that have been side chicks and get cheated on. I know too many of them. So for me to look at you honestly and say that, oh, because she has it together and she looks good. I know plenty of cashiers at Walmart with that fat dunk that are married and their husband is in love. And they have a nice business and their wife only works because she wants to get out of the house. And they're in love. So I can't subscribe to that. You know what I mean? Like literally it goes, am I attracted to you? Am I not? So yeah, if you're looking about the quality of man that you want, and by quality of man, I'm not talking money. I don't do that. I don't do that. I've always subscribed to this meme that I saw. And it said, I gave you $20. He gave you $200. You chose him. What you didn't know was I had $21. He had $2 million. Right? Now, some people want to make a joke, be like, well, he had $2 million. I'm going with the $2 million. And that's funny, whatever. But the point of the meme is, yo, he has it all, and this is all he's giving you, and you're in need. And with me, I'm willing to give you everything I have. You know what I mean? So, like, that's where I go with it. I'm like, when I'll talk to women, I'm like, when you're looking for a man, and if we're talking about a man of value, we're talking about individual man of value as it is. I subscribe to this in a lot of different ways. All right, but when I say man of value is an individual thing, because what you value is not necessarily what she values. I say this, right? He tries to make people feel like they're settling. I'm like, no. When I was 21, right before I had children, I wanted to have a Lamborghini. I wanted a Lamborghini. That's what I wanted. I said, I'm gonna have a Lamborghini because that's what I want. Fast, it's beautiful, it's slick. Da da da. You get older, you have a family, you have children. Your love for things change. You evolve as a human being. You start to love things outside of yourself. You say, nah, you know what? That Lamborghini doesn't make sense in my life. Not that I'm settling for this. It doesn't make sense in my life.
All right.
You know what? This SUV makes sense. So you know what? I'm going to go with the SUV. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of women do that. A lot of women when they're younger and they maybe don't know any better, they're shooting for that Lamborghini, which is cool. Fine. You know what I mean? Then the world teaches you and you go through some things and you learn some things, or maybe you have a child or whatever, and you realize, yeah, that Lamborghini doesn't really fit a car seat too good. You know what I'm saying? I need something that's going to be comfortable and fulfilling for me, something that's going to fit my life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't believe in that as settling. I believe in that as looking at it and saying, you've evolved, you've kind of matured, and you say, okay, cool. At each stage in my life, I've needed something different. This is what I deserve now in my life, you know? And I think more women need to be okay with that, you know? And then you have a guy that, okay, he's not a six-figure guy. He's just not. He's not.
Which most aren't, right?
Right. But you know what he is? You know what he is? He's the guy that when you put out a dream, he does everything in his power to make it happen for you, to do everything around you to set you up to help you achieve your dreams. If you have a vision, let's say a house, he says, okay, you know what? Okay, I only make X amount of dollars. You do that. You know what? And all of a sudden he's driving Uber 24 hours a day. He's doing this, he's doing that. And he shows you, you know what I mean? But then there's the flip side of that. There's the same guy, right? That, yeah, okay, let's say he's materialistically, he has everything. But you're throwing up in the toilet because you don't feel good. And he's just watching you watching TV. As opposed to the guy that's coming up to you and saying, holding your hair, you need something to drink, can I help you? Oh my God, let me get you some medicine, which is different. You know what I mean? And I'm not vilifying money. I'm not, because there's plenty of men with money that are exactly like that. I'm hoping to one day be one of those guys where I have enough money and I could still be the sensitive, amazing guy that I am now. I can still be a great guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. I hope, I don't think it'll change you. It just makes you a bigger whatever you are, right? So I look at it like that. I'm like, women, stop looking for men. Okay, it's like this. When a woman shops for a car, let's say it's a car. Mm-hmm. Women sometimes shop for men, quote unquote shop for men, like they would shop for a car. Except they do this. They'll be like, I'm looking for a car that has 4 tires, like really nice tires, a trunk. You know what I want? Like really cool seats and a sound system and air conditioning. That's what I want. And you're looking at them like, yeah, how about an engine and a transmission? What do you thought about that? And I feel like women do that a lot. They'll describe a man. I need him to be 6'2", make 6 figures. I need him to be da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, sweetheart, you never once mentioned that you want him to have a big heart. You never once talked about you want him to love children. You never once talked about that you want him to have aspirations for your dreams. You never once talked about how you want him to be easygoing. Maybe you don't want him to have a temper. You never talked about him. You want him to be funny. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm understanding that they want that. But it's, how about this? Let me check the engine. How's the transmission? How's it on gas? Does it have this? Does it have that? Okay, all that's secure.
But then that's the same argument now can go toward the bonnet chicks. Like, okay, like it might be a little hoopty or whatever, but the owner took good care of it. I had all my oil changes. I run good. You know what I'm saying? Should I be judged as a woman for how I look? Now, if I'm a mess, this is what, like I said, with the bonnet thing, there's a difference between, you're 40 pounds overweight, no bra, pajamas, like you look a mess. Nobody's going to want to drive your car. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm, I'm a little not all the way together, but you could tell, she might be a little something under there. Shouldn't women, and not even just with the bonnet, just with anything, because again, going back to the whole Kevin Samuels thing, it's always like, oh, you got to be this, you got to look this way, and da-da-da-da, and I get it. And men are attracted, like you said, to a certain thing, but that's not going to keep you. So should I care if you're attracted to me off rip? If you can't see the beauty underneath the bonnet, without the makeup, with the pajamas, like, do I give a fuck if you like me when I'm all done and good? Because the reality of it is, you're probably going to see her more in the bonnet. If y'all get together, you're probably going to see her more in the bonnet than together anyway. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a woman that doesn't understand men. I'm not saying it's right. See, that's what I'm not doing. I'm not saying, see, we're in a world where people think fair. Oh, it's supposed to be fair. You're not allowed to feel like, because this has to be fair. No, the truth is, I look at you and I say, you look like shit. No, I'm not attracted to you. Oh, but you're supposed to. I'm not supposed to do anything. I look to you and this is how I feel. You cannot tell me how I feel. So if you have an understanding of how men work, now there's a difference. Let's go back to the car analogy. There's a difference between, like, I had a van. Okay, I had a van at 248,000 miles on it. Okay, yeah. Engine was intact. Transmission was intact. The owners that were performing were mechanics, took really good care of it. The body was trash. It was all messed up. Okay. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a buyer for that car. I couldn't. I would literally have to get somebody who was very desperate to buy that car. Okay. And unfortunately, that's very true of regular. You know, here's the thing. Women are much more forgiving of a man's appearance. They're much more forgiving. That's why a bunch of fat guys like me have never had a problem with women. Never. Big, sloppy fat guys. I'm not really fat and sloppy. I'm fat. Right. But big guys like me, I've never had a problem with it. Confidence, the gift of gab, other things have always carried me. And I feel like women are just so much more forgiving, okay, for things that they don't like. They'll look past it. They'll overlook it because with them, they're a lot more about how you make them feel. Mm-hmm. Where with men, we're visual. And here's the other thing about the whole Kevin Samuel thing that I completely disagree with, right? Him and I have completely two different tastes in women. We don't have the same taste. Exactly. So I'm like, you're calling her fat? Do you know what I would do to that woman? Oh my God, are you kidding me? Right. Like, that's my type. Oh, what? A little chunky around the middle? I always had a running joke my entire life. My favorite part of a woman's body is what that little part under the fupa, where you sleep there, you can slide your hand in there and just roll. You know, that's always been my favorite part of somebody's body. Like, how dare you talk about that part?
Slide your hand in there.
Call her fat. How dare you call her fat? How dare you say nobody wants her? What? We're over here like, there's a group of us.
I'll take her, right.
Yeah. You're going to tell me BBC pornography is not one of the highest searched, what do you call it? Because there's not a section of men that don't want women, plus size women?
Right.
What kind of men are you? Second, that's first. Second, I've never, right? Never in my life have I seen a man offered some cookie, and backed up because he said, "No, you have stretch marks," and walked away from it.
But then that'd be his point, though. It's like, yeah, niggas will take the cookie now. Like, we're not talking about cookie. We talking about put a ring on it, stay with me forever with my fupa. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you. I think that's one of my things with him is that there's like, everybody has a type. You know what I'm saying? So what you consider, because he thinks that Kelly is cuter than Beyonce. I personally think they're both equally beautiful in just two very different ways. You know what I'm saying? But he's always like, Beyonce's an 8, Beyonce's an 8. Okay, that's your opinion. Like, there's guys that think she's a 10. There's probably guys out there that think she's a 3. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like, everybody has a preference. And so that's my thing with it, because even in this Bonnet argument, I've seen men online like, y'all are tripping, kind of like what you said, like, I'ma still clap them cheeks, like, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? So it just becomes a, I don't know, this crazy debate. I think about preference. I think at the end of the day, like I said, I think if you're put together and you're neat with it, that's very different than just coming outside, like you said, in your pajamas, just looking like you really didn't give a fuck, rolled out of bed and came to smoke some hookah.
There's look, I've seen people, right, that even when they dress down, they're just completely dressed down, but they still do their hair. There's certain things that they do just to let you know, like, you know, I'm about this life. Don't think, you know what I mean? But then there's people that just don't give a fuck. And like you said, when you don't give a fuck, expect people not to give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. If you don't care about yourself, don't expect people to care for you. You know what I mean? So hey, that's on you. We talked a lot about this guy Kevin Samuel. And
everybody is.
yeah, it's funny because I'm one of those people that walk the line with him.
Okay.
I'm very down the middle with him. Am I a fan? No, but I've watched a lot of his content. Mm-hmm. So maybe I am. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Do I agree with him? No, not on everything. I just don't. You know what I mean? And now it's so crazy how I guess part of it is him saying things that women don't want to hear. I think part of it is that. I think part of it is his delivery, which he addresses. He says, I don't have to be nice to anybody. You're coming to my house, you know? So, and I get that. But he's been recently under attack. And I cannot co-sign what a lot of people are doing to him right now. It does not make sense. They're coming at him like, they're calling him almost like they're saying he's gay. Mm-hmm. Or I think the better term was, I think they're calling him queer. I'm not proficient in the letters, so I just want to make sure I'm doing my best to try to like hit what he was.
They say he likes boys or men.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people calling him queer, and I said to myself, okay, if you're trying to discredit him, that's not an argument. Him being gay is not an argument. As a matter of fact, now I look at him and I'm like, wow, okay, now you even have more insight, maybe. You know, again, it just doesn't sway me either way when people use that as an argument against it. Oh, he's just gay. He hates women. And da-da-da-da. I'm like, I don't think that's what it is.
I agree. I saw a post from a guy that said something about this, particularly to black women. Is like, you know, you guys want to attack Kevin Samuels for being gay, but any other time, black women, we on that rainbow parade, like, yes, girl, yes, you know what I'm saying? So it's very hypocritical to now try to. I mean, it was something, you know, to discredit him. I think it came out because he had like I saw this video. He did a video with a chick, and he was changing like camera angles, and he must have like switched to the Arlo in the bedroom or something, and it was like a man in the bed, and he just kind of like laughed it off, and he didn't address it. So like, I think your sexual orientation does not make a difference.
I don't think it changes content.
Facts, you know what I'm saying? Like, facts are facts.
You hit it.
But
it's content on a lot of. Okay, so here's the other thing. There is a group of minions, I call them, which are guys out there that think that they can regurgitate what he's saying. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching a lot of them and I'm like, you're not that guy. You're not. Where were you? Like, if you weren't spitting this type of game, if you weren't talking this talk, I'll give you 2017, 18. No, the first, let's say 2000, I saw his first content was like 2016. If you weren't spitting this kind of content pre-2000 or even a year ago, shut up. Shut up. Because if you're subscribing too hard to that guy, don't look at me and talk about being an alpha male. Because by nature, if he's your guy, if he's the guy,
he's your leader, that makes you a beta.
That makes you a beta. You're a beta. You know what I mean? And I feel like these guys, they're doing it. It's the funniest shit, man. You'll be online on like YouTube and you'll see some random dude and he's like, well, this is how you get a girl. And he's talking, right? And then me, just to be fun, I'll ask around, I'll ask my friends, I'm like, hey, would you mess with this guy? Would you talk to this guy? And I'll look alone, they're like, hell no, this guy looks like a cornball. No, what is hell no?
Well, that's the argument. That's the same argument that I think people are having with Kevin. Like prior to the whole gay thing, like I think the gay thing was easy to jump on because it's like, oh, he's gay, he doesn't like girls. That's why he's bashing us. But like, let's throw that out the window. Prior to that, another argument that I've heard and what I see a lot of his minions is like, you just have little dick energy. So you haven't been getting bitches. Now you're mad that you haven't been getting bitches, and so you're like almost bitter. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, bitch, if you're not a 10, you don't deserve a man. And it's like, come on, calm down. Calm all that down, you know? And that's the part of him and anybody else, I think, that subscribes to his rhetoric that I don't like. It just becomes... I
feel like it's very insecure conversation.
Yeah, like, don't cut me off. I'm going to hang up. You're like, bitch, you're acting like a bitch. Stop.
Yeah, and then it's the type of woman it's the type of woman that exposes themselves to that arena.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'll give you an example, right? Like a, a Kevin said, no, not even a Kevin said, one of these guys up against an Oprah, a Michelle Obama, a Beyonce, a or better yet, let's put her up against. I just think of women that let's say women that aren't as physically attractive, but they're high value. Put them sitting in front of these gentlemen, and they'll laugh them off. We're like, I don't look for you for validation. I don't really. What you're saying is not. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. I get what he's saying. What he's saying is exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel is, and I say it all the time, but I've been saying this. I have a YouTube content that I put up before Kevin Samuel popped. When I talked about this, I was talking to this group called Pearls of Wisdom. It was whatever, and I literally said, my favorite thing to say is, we don't care if you could read. That was one of my favorites. I said that early on. Right. That was my thing. And it was exactly what he's saying, because my point was, I do agree with the fact that, look, you get to a certain age and all you did was accomplish, because you said, I have to be more than men. I have to be better. I have to be the best. I have to be amazing. I have to be successful, right? Because you saw a reflection. You saw what men got with that success. You got it. And a lot of it was self-fulfilling. But you also saw what men got with that success. With that success came this amazing life. And then all of a sudden, you do that for yourself. You get there, and you're like, hold on, time out. This isn't fair. How come I don't have the amazing life? How come I don't have a wife? I mean, a husband or a wife, whatever. How come I'm not in a family? I don't have children. Like, what's going on here? Well, this is not how it's supposed to happen. And then you're older, and you're kind of looking around, and what are you left with? So that Lamborghini you were chasing, it's no longer there. It's not even an option for you. Now you're looking around, and yeah, you're going to find a couple of guys that have been divorced. You're going to find a couple of guys with children. You're going to find a couple of guys that have been through some shit. You know what I mean? Maybe rebuilding. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the second half of their life trying to figure it out. A lot of times when men hit that part of their life, they're like, nah, I made that mistake of getting married when I was young. I'm not doing that again. Maybe they lost a lot when they got married. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they were hurt. There's a lot. So now the pool that you're working in, it's just a lot smaller.
There's pee in it.
It has piss in it. Exactly. The dating pool ends up having piss in it. And now you're stuck. I know, I don't know how well received this is. But when I talk to my daughter, my daughter's very bright. I have a feeling she has a gift that I see in her that I always try to bring out of her. And when I talk to her, I know there's something about her that I know she's going to do well in life. I can just tell, you know, I have that feeling. She's very responsible. She's very mature for her age, even in the way she handles herself, the way she speaks. And when I talk to her, one of the conversations I have, and at first, my three sisters, who are very powerful women, I think at first they were kind of like, what? No, don't say that, whatever. But then when they saw where I was coming from, and they looked around at friends, some family, they were like, no, maybe you have a point, you know? I looked at my daughter and I said, baby, look, bust your ass. Bust your ass to be whatever it is you want. Bust your ass. But please, when you hit 26, 27, put your career second and look for love. Or be open to love, not look for it.
Right.
Put your career second and be open to love. And a lot of people are like, what? Oh my God, what if she wants to be cool? She's the right, this is my whole thing. And again, maybe I'm dealing in fantasy land. My whole thing is 26, 27, you decide to, okay, I'm gonna be open to love now. That's gonna be the priority for me. And my just looking for having a happy life. How about that? A happy life is gonna be my priority. Accepting love. You meet somebody, you start to build together. If a man really, really loves you, whatever your dream was, you could still accomplish it. in the past, what women have done is they've assumed, or in the past, because they got married, they said, okay, my dream has to go on the back burner. Okay, I have to have children now. I have to be a mom. I can't be that writer I wanted to be. I can't be that lawyer. I have to be a mother. That's it. And then they end up resenting. That's not what I'm telling. What I tell her is put that on the back burner, look for love, look for the type of man that's going to allow you to fulfill his dream. And talk
But
to
then
him.
that becomes a question of, can women really have it all? You know, and maybe that could be another conversation. We still got some time left, so we can talk about it. But it becomes, because the reality of it is very difficult to do both. You know what I'm saying? Can you do both? I believe if you have the right partner, it definitely makes it a little easier. But especially once you start throwing children into the equation, especially if it's multiple children, you know, it sounds good to say go pursue your dreams, but the reality of it is your children now become your priority, especially if your husband is the provider, the primary provider. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of fall back and let him do what he does, and then you either take on the children full time, or you do what a lot of women do, is they still continue to pursue their career goals, but now the kids are in daycare, they're in aftercare, they've got babysitters. You don't spend the amount of time.
I'll give you I have the reason I came up with my scenario in my head, right, is because I looked at the 5 to 7 couples that I basically wrote my book about. Mm-hmm. The 5 to 7 couples that, in the positive direction, with the good part of my book about what they did right. Mm-hmm. The people I modeled it after. I was like, these women, they get to have it all because of the type of man that they are. Mm-hmm. And because of the type of man he chose to be, right? And I see that in those examples, I cannot say that no, because after talking to them and saying, hey, man, so like, how did that happen? How'd you get there? Were you able to? And they look at me in the face and they go, I couldn't have done it without her. You know what I mean? Like, they reached a point where, yeah, maybe early on she was a child. She raised the children. She did a little bit till they got to a certain age. And then she looked at them and said, okay, it's my turn.
Right.
You know what? We grew up with an example in our face. If you ever watched The Cosby Show, that's exactly what happened in The Cosby Show. In The Cosby Show, he was a doctor, got through medical school. They had children. She went back to law school. That's what kind of like gets lost in the mix. She went back to law school after she had children and raised her kids and then became a lawyer. And then later on, we see her as a powerful lawyer. That's how it works. And it's funny because that example, I have that around me where I see people that she's a doctor now. That's dope. How did she do that? Oh, wow. He took care of the children. He made sure they got to baseball. He did this. He did that. He fed them. She came home, helped with the shop. It has to be a high level of communication, high level of teamwork.
That sounds good if his career allows him to do that. What if his career doesn't allow him to do that? How do you create the space for that? You know, and
that's where
I love that you have those good examples in your book, but from a scientific perspective, it's a very small sample group. You know what I'm saying? And so is that a realistic expectation for the majority of women?
Here's the kicker. I always say couples are fingerprints. They're snowflakes, unlike anything else, right? Mm-hmm. These are people that figured out their situation, because the economics of it is all over the place. They figured out their situation and they literally designed it. But included in the blueprint, in the design, was her dream. You know? So it doesn't matter whether his job doesn't permit, whatever. Because what it's about is when you guys make the plan and finally come up with a solution together, mm-hmm. that within that blueprint is an answer to that question. And that's where the communication comes in. That's where the high level of communication comes in. You have to talk about it. So if I'm making $40,000 a year, I work as a X job, right? And I can't pay for the household bills. I can't do it, right? We're both working. We're making ends meet.
Right.
Okay. But we know that when we got together, we said, okay, look, there's going to come a point where that $40,000 a year would you be willing to do this, this, and this while I do this? Oh, okay. What about this? And you compromise. You come to, and this is where the love is. This is where the teamwork is. This is where the couples that are successful come out of. Because nowadays, yeah, the numbers are small because we have a lot of couples that when faced with that, they'll be like, nah, fuck that. I have to choose your dream or mine. I'm choosing mine. It's over. And you have a lot of women that walk away from amazing men. And you'll hear it. Man, listen, you'll hear this one all the time. No, I just felt like this guy's loyal. He's sexually attracted to you. He's cleans around the house. He has the potential to be a really good father. And you'll hear, I just don't think that we can reach the heights that I want to reach. Okay. Mm-hmm. Good luck. And now you're 35, 37, 39, 45. And guess what? You're by yourself. And did you reach those heights? No, I'm still kind of like, I'm getting there. Oh, you're still getting there. So you mean if you could have had this guy that would have given you, that would have rolled over and died for you, maybe put in a little effort and molded him even a little bit to kind of like help him, guide him. Because guys that are in love with you and will roll over and die for you are priceless. Those are the guys that you could literally be like, I am this guy right now. Oh. I am this guy right now. This is what I'm talking. This is why it triggers me. Because I am this guy right now. I'm a guy that had all the potential in the world.
But how old are you? Were you this guy 20 years ago?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Like if your daughter would have looked for you at 26, she wouldn't have found you.
No, here's the deal, right? When I was the type of person. When I was see, that's the thing. I'm the rare guy that went from being super mature into an episode of really immature for like 10 years. I was the most mature 19, 20, 21, 22, 25-year-old you'll ever be, ever. Yo, about to buy a house, this, that, everything organized. And then when I hit 30, I said, peace, I'm out, and went and became 16 again, wildly. You know what I'm saying? That's my story. But the point I'm making is you have all this potential, you have all this untapped potential, right? And there's dots that you're not connecting, that you can't connect. That you never learned how to connect them. You're not sure how to do. You don't have the confidence to connect them, whatever. You meet a woman and you love her and you trust her. You trust her with all you got. And when she says, well, if you go A to B and C, you'll get what you want. And because you love her and you trust her, you say, I'm going to try. Fuck it. And you realize I went A to B and it worked. Oh, shit. Now all of a sudden, let me do it. I do this and I do that. And now everything she's saying is working. Now from the outside, people are like,
and now you're successful and now you go cheat on her with another bitch. Like, and that is why I think, let me tell you, like,
it's such a negative.
No.
Such a negative. There's a huge population of men that don't. That's a false narrative. It's a narrative.
Especially in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to say this too. And then you're talking about different caliber. The reality of it is too, like, and this might suck, and that's a whole nother conversation. A lot of times, right, especially when you're in your 20s, that good guy is not really maybe necessarily what you're looking for as a woman. Maybe you're not attracted to him. Maybe he's a little corny, whatever it is, right? Like if we're keeping it real, Mike, in your 20s, the majority of men ain't shit. Like when it comes to fidelity, like let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why a lot of women be like, fuck you, I'm gonna do me because you out here doing you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go make sure that I can sustain myself because you acting up around here. You know what I'm saying? And then it becomes like, all right, now I'm in my 30s, now I'm looking for a guy, whatever. But like 20.
Here's the thing. You just nailed it, right? Mm-hmm. I told my daughter to look when she's 26, 27. I didn't tell her necessarily look for a guy that's 26, 27.
Age, right? Okay.
Yeah, she needs to go a little older. And here's the deal. The reason why I tell her to stop there is because if you want a long-term serious relationship, a year to get to know each other, a year, maybe a year, 2 years, maybe do a little traveling together, you know, kind of like, you know, that poor traveling where you're broke, but you gotta go on these little Miami vacations and over here and over there. Yeah, all these little things that you do that are cute when you're broke. maybe first apartment together for a year. Excuse me. An engagement, marriage, baby, maybe marriage, whatever that you're doing, whatever. We're talking about a 5-6 year period. You know what I'm saying? If I was talking about
6 year period.
Yes. Yes. See, as a 40-year-old woman, 30-something, I could hear you say 5-6 year period. Hell no. But at that age,
even as a young woman, again, so this is where and it sucks that it is this. And I know you say I sound negative, but like I and every single one of my friends, 100%, except for maybe like one or two that might have met their sweetheart, in college or high school, have spent several years dating men that did not turn into anything until they found their husband. Like I'm talking about my friends that are married. My friends that are married, aside from the high school sweetheart ones, that wasn't their first boo. You know what I'm saying? So for me to spend 5 years with you, now at 26, now I'm 31, and it didn't work out. Now I got to start over at 31. Now I got to spend 5 more years with the next one.
But think about what I'm saying. Yeah, no, think of what I'm saying. If I spend if I spend 10 minutes with somebody who's not worth it, 8 minutes of that is my fault. Okay? Right. So if you're spending 5 years with somebody, they're not shit early on.
I'm not saying they're not shit. Sometimes stuff just don't work out.
No, listen. Oh my God. When you're asking for commitment, right? Early.
So you're saying like 5 years, but you committed.
Yeah, 5 years. You see you feel and see the commitment from this man. Okay. It's not 5 years and it's up in the air on whether you guys are going to be together. You know what I mean? It's 5 years like he wants me almost more than I want him. Yeah, I'm going to be with him.
That's still a long time, I feel like.
No, okay, look, 5 years is a long time. That's ideal for me, for her. But let's say
you're a dad.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say 3 years. Let's say 3 years.
I say 3 years tough. Like 3 years is pushing it, and that's tough.
Together, you know what I'm saying?
At that point, we need to know what we do.
I love you, whatever. But that's what I want. Like, start early enough so that if it is a mistake, right? You're not 35, 37 making that mistake. You're 27 making that mistake. Okay, you're not 45 making that mistake. Maybe you're 28 making that mistake. And that's okay, because now it gives you that window to play with. You know what I'm saying? But you're still open, you're still looking. And then, I know too many people, like, marriage isn't easy, but I know too many people being good and successful at it. We've been fed that marriage is everybody, and a lot of it has to do with how we grew up sometimes. Like, I look and I came from a broken home. I came from a marriage that it wasn't an example for me. So to me, everybody breaks up. Nobody stays together. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is, I got plenty of friends that when you talk to them about, I used to do this and this is crazy. I used to look at them and be like, who do you love more? Your mom or your dad? And then automatically in my head, I'd be like, of course you love your mother more. Of course. Like, because in my head, I didn't have a dad at the time. Right. So I was like, I love my mom. Of course. Everybody loves their mom. And then you'd be people and you'd be like, I don't know. I love my dad. He's like, and they'd be debating. And I'm like, huh? I had to learn that, there's a lot of people on this earth that were raised with mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that are married together and stay together. And they work on it when shit gets fucked up.
They are not the majority. We do know that as a fact. Statistically, they are not the majority.
What new marriages end up 50% in divorce? It's not the majority. It's not a
big chunk though. I thought it was closer to 60 from my understanding. I don't know for sure, but even if it's 50, that's not good probability.
No, it's not, but it's not, right? But when it's done right, there's proof out there that it works.
And that's a poo-poo marriage. I totally subscribe, and I definitely believe if you're with the right partner, you can absolutely reach your highest heights of whatever it is that you're looking to do. But I think that so many women, either from personal experience, their friends' experience, watching TV, the narrative is men ain't shit. You gotta handle yourself.
Everything that you should be avoiding. You just named everything that's shaping your brain.
But you can't. Like it's like you're a product of your environment. I'm a product of my environment. You know, if my mother raised me and she wasn't married and I have friends, like I'm not gonna avoid my friends because they've had bad experiences. And it's not that we sit around like men ain't shit, men ain't shit. It's simply of like, girl, remember that guy I told you about?
You ever notice the men ain't shit crew are the loudest? And you know what married women that are happy are doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's why I said like I don't have those men ain't shit friends, but it's like what's understood doesn't need to be said. You know what I'm saying? So it's like your friend will tell you this whole story of how she met the guy and he was great and he was this and that. And girl, guess what this nigga did? You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't have to say men ain't shit, but it's like, damn, my friend over here had this fucked up experience, and so and so had a fucked up experience. I remember that one time I had a fucked up experience.
Guess what? So it becomes company, and everybody kind of gets around, and they're always going to share that kind of story. They're going to share that, but that's why they tell you when you're in a married couple, find other married couples. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the most toxic thing for a married couple is that nosy best friend. That she comes in and because she's not happy and she's not in shit and she's not involved in anything, everything's a comment. Yo, I used to see this.
I've seen those too. Yeah, definitely.
I have a friend that constantly comments and writes stuff, right? And she'll say shit like, "Oh, because you know I need a man to do this," and da 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 da. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, all the single ladies. What do they say? See, Beyonce left all you single ladies on the damn dance floor by your damn self and went and got married. You know what I'm saying? Because you look and you're like, you guys, you're so loud. She's so loud about this and that and oh man and oh my God. And then as soon as she posts something, everybody underneath her jumps on it. Oh yeah, because and then you're like, yeah, I got a group of friends that are fucking genuinely good dudes. They don't have problems with women. Nobody thinks they're corny. They're genuinely looking for relationships, but they're just kind of ready for the right opportunity. And
that can be the reality. Like I've had conversations with some of my guy friends, and like I can't as a woman, and I've had a few for real relationships. I've had a whole bunch of guys that I've just talked to or whatever. I can't relate. I have not dated one guy that I could be like, he ain't shit. Like he was trifling and he was it. I've had good relationships with men. We simply were not compatible for whatever reason. Yet and still here I am, still single. And so it becomes a programming of like, I can't rely on the fact that I'm going to find a man that's going to support me. So it's not even like niggas ain't shit, but it's like, okay, I might find a guy. First of all, we're outnumbered, right? Like, or you guys are outnumbered by women. So like my competition is on fleek, right? So I have to compete with all of these women. Fast forward, we're in 2021. Now I have to compete with women who got the body, yaddy, yaddy. You know, they got money. There's women out here. You know, women are doing their thing. Women are making money. They're doing whatever. And so it's like, can I rely or should I, as a woman in 2021, should I rely on the fact that I'm going to find a partner to, you know, help me grow and live life? Or do I focus on myself and when he comes, he comes? And it's not that I'm blocking up because most of my successful friends, actually, I don't have a single successful friend that was like, I'm focusing on me. I'm not dating. They were simply doing them and they were still dating and they just were not able to pair with the right person. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the now later in life. Like I have two friends that recently got engaged, you know, we damn near 40, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's working out. But my thing is, what is so wrong with that? Like, do women have to be 22 looking for a man? And because men, you know, in their 20s,
the universe doesn't know late. It only knows right on time.
Exactly.
One day, the key is to stop chasing what you want and accept what you deserve. Understand your life, what the basis of your life is. Because if I was chasing, okay, so when I first like opened up again to kind of like accept love and stuff like that, I had it in my head. I had this thing in my head where I wanted to be a minimalist at home, but travel. I just wanted to travel. I wanted to have a travel buddy. I wanted to be out. That's what I wanted, a woman that's, on her P's and Q's to go out, right? And that's where my head was at. And then I meet this woman that makes sure that I have underwear, that I eat. And I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck I really want. holy shit. And I'm like, Mike, you deserve this. Because my whole argument was, I don't need a woman that can cook and clean. I can do that shit by myself. You know, a woman always like, I don't need a man to pay my bills. I pay my own bills. All right, cool. I don't need a woman to help me cook. I clean my own house. I cook my own food. I don't need that shit. So if that's what you're offering, take that somewhere else, yo. Bring me something more. And that was my whole thing. And then you meet somebody that cooks for you just because they want to, not because you ask for it, that makes sure that things are good for you, that makes sure your life is comfortable, that does things for you that you don't even think to do for yourself. And you're like, oh shit, I'm a good person. This is what I deserve. I deserve this. And you know what? She deserves it too. So I'm also giving her that. You know what I mean? And one day you stop chasing what you want and you accept what you deserve. Yo, we're coming up on an hour, and I thought that was a great topic. I think I want to say, yo, I appreciate you. I do want to give my man Albert Hernandez a shout out.
Okay.
Today's episode was brought to you by a book called 15 Consejos. It's actually written in English with the title 15 Consejos. That's 15 pieces of advice. This book is designed for second generation Americans.
Okay.
Where if you have a parent that's an immigrant, or you have a parent that doesn't understand what they're gonna face, what they're facing when they get to college, when you get to college, read this book. It's like a cheat sheet. It's a guide. It helps you see some of the pitfalls, some of the things that you're gonna go through. I love this book, and I've read it, and I've really reviewed it, because with my daughter now, I've had so much experience with college, higher education, that I'm going to be able to give her the cheat sheet, the notes. Okay. Whereas when I got to college, my mom didn't know about financial aid. She didn't know about the dorm situation. She didn't really know anything. And I literally had to navigate the whole situation blind.
Right.
I didn't know who to go to, who to get my mentorship from, what opportunities to take. I literally went in blind and had to fend for myself. And this book is a beautiful book because it allows you to go over this with your parents, to read it for yourself, so that you're not going in blind when you go into this higher education field. And it's not strictly about college. It's also about training. It's also about different fields that you can go into. Highly recommended. Check it out. It's up on Amazon. I'll put the link down below. 15 Consejos by Albert Hernandez. And with that, Ms. Illy,
it's been real.
It's always been real. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot. And everybody, see you next week.
Next week.
Next week. Hopefully, right? Everything works out. It'll